Hi, everybody. Welcome to You're the Operant Power with Gail and
Jane. Hi from Jane.
Jane. Hi, Jane.
Hi to Gail and all others.
Yeah. Um, this week, I thought what we would talk about is specifically the subconscious, because I think it's funny. This is one of the areas like I've heard a lot about and read a lot about, and it just never made sense to me what I had been hearing. And I thought, no, because it it always seems like it's so challenging to change your beliefs. There's a lot that talk about from 0 to 7. That's when all of your sort of programs, your beliefs are deposited. It's okay. Are deposited into your subconscious. And then it seems like overwhelming and oh my God, like what did I know at 7? Like it just seems like it's so out of reach to be able to do it unless you're going to, you know, the what most suggest is affirmations and subliminals. So listening for 12 hours a night for 21 days, and then you get some different. You don't necessarily, I don't think, if you think about it, you don't get rid of those beliefs, but you pile more of what you want in there. So
Yes.
they're heavier. There you have more of what you want than what you don't want, but what you don't want is still there. So anyways, I want to talk about that because Rita, who contributed much to this, and
That's who I was just, well, I was just going to say that's who I listen to when I get in that frame of mind. I've been listening to her the last couple of days a lot because I needed those quick messages.
Yeah, and she's always got that little bit different perspective, and I mean, I don't want to get off the topic, but
yeah,
I mean, she, as usual, or as you would expect, came around. I was introduced to her at the right time because I'd been searching for. I've seen what everybody else was doing, and I was looking for that little bit different thing because what everybody else was doing just wasn't. No, there's something more. There's something more. But anyways, so she was the one that introduced this understanding of the subconscious mind to me, and I just thought instantly, it was like, oh my God, that just makes so much sense. So let's get into that just briefly, and hopefully I can explain it in a way that's easy for people to understand. So I mean, it's true, what everything that we accept is deposited in our subconscious mind. So if I say to you, oh, your hair's purple today, if you don't consciously in your mind think, what is she talking about? It's not purple, it's brown, whatever. Then that gets deposited into your subconscious mind. Now, an example like that is not going to be it's not going to have a huge effect on you because you're not going to have a lot of people telling you your hair is purple for your hair to end up turning purple because you've accepted that. But just so you know, like everything that is said to you, TV, commercials, radio, overhearing conversations, have your own conversations, everything that you accept as true is deposited into your subconscious mind. And it's not like you have to sit there and say, oh, I accept that. No. It's if you don't say like, okay, that doesn't fit for me, or that doesn't make any sense for me. You have to, in your mind, consciously do that to not accept.
So
otherwise, it's considered accepted.
Does that mean that if you're picking up subconscious messages as well, they're going into your purse?
Like subliminal ones?
Yeah.
Subliminal? Yeah. Yeah. But
so I guess
them, so you can't. I mean, that's why marketing works. That's why TV, you're watching TV programs. Like what is a program? Like see it in a whole new light now, right? But that's just, okay, so everything that you accept is deposited in your subconscious mind. And then what happens is when you say, okay, say you want your hair to be orange. No, let's not use the orange because we're going to use that example later. Say you want your hair to be pink. So you're, feeling what it would like to have pink hair. So you're just going about your business, and all of a sudden you start seeing purple showing up in your hair, not pink, purple. So what your reaction to that is going to, it's like imagination who, works from the subconscious purse, pulls from the subconscious purse, is saying, you're saying you want a pink, but in here, in your purse, I've got a belief that your hair's purple. So I'm not sure which it is.
Yes.
So your reaction when you start noticing you have purple is, oh my God, no. Or it's like, oh, no, that's not quite the shade of pink that I want, but my hair is pink.
Okay.
So it's not you're not reacting with intensity, feeling to the situation that has been thrown in front of you. And one of the purposes I wanted to kind of talk about this more is because we have a tendency to think that we're, the subconscious mind is trying to flip us up, screw us up, right? It's like, and that was one of the difficulties that I had with all the other understandings that I'd been given, is that, like, if it's me, then like, why are we at loggerheads? Because you're, if consciously, if I'm saying this, like, why is a part of me going against it?
Yes.
So, I'll give you an analogy that I use that hopefully will help with understanding this. The things you desire are apples. So if you're focused on if you're starting to consciously create and you're focused on what you want, like, that's the whole point of consciously creating, is that you're going to create the life that you want, create the reality that you want. So all those fulfilled desires living in the end are all apples. So what you want is your purse, your subconscious purse, to be filled with apples, because then it's just whatever you're desiring is coming to you all the time. Like, it's just natural flow. But what happens is, because we've had so many years of not knowing how reality is created, not knowing how our minds work, not knowing the power that we hold within us, we've created a lot of oranges, and oranges being those things that we don't want. Your subconscious purse, when you start this, not in everything, but we'll just talk overall for now. But I mean, there's parts of people's lives that are, going great, and so they've got all the apples already in that sort of area of their life. But just for easy, simplistic sake, we'll talk it as if it's everything. So I notice, that there's something that I want some more money. I want to be more abundant. I've had a lack attitude, and now I've decided I want to be abundant. So I, take the moment to think about how would that feel to be abundant, and, notice that it's different than feeling lack, because you're not going to have the worry. You're going to be focused on what what you can have in your life, what feelings you're going to have in your life with having abundance. So apples, that's my apple. This feeling of abundance is my apple. So a bill comes up and I don't have the money. Well, how's that? Because I've been feeling abundant. Like, why don't I have the money? Like, why isn't this working? And what happens is imagination has gone into your subconscious purse and pulled out an orange, which was a belief in lack that you've imagined in the past. So when this situation comes up where you have your bill and your money hasn't objectified for you, what is your reaction? Is it going to be, result in another apple, or is it going to result in an orange being placed back in your purse? Like, my bills are all paid. So, like, there's nothing going, I'm abundant. My bills are paid. I always pay.
Yes.
Whatever it is.
Absolutely.
I used to think that way, that I couldn't pay my bills because I never had any money, or there was never enough money, or so-and-so didn't do this and give me the money and all this sort of stuff. But I don't think that way anymore. Now I know that my bills are always paid and I always have more money than I know what to do with.
So it's remaining in the belief that you are the one telling the story to yourself about whatever is happening. Like if you're feeling abundant, then you know you created that with your focus on abundance.
Right, it's done. Even if it's not
Done.
Self, I did that. So I don't know what this about. I know what it is. It's old imaginings, but I don't think like that anymore. So by doing that, you need to acknowledge what you used to think, because with imagination, you want to create that shift. So I used to think like that. I'm taking responsibility for that, but I don't think like that anymore. Now I know that, my bills are paid, blah, 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 whatever it is that you want to replace it with. And so then what happens is when you do it that way, when you're saying, no, that's not how I think anymore, this is how I think, then you've changed that orange into an apple and the apple goes into the purse. And so the idea is you want all apples in your purse. And then you're right thinking and your life is just flowing and there's none of these. You probably still will have these little experiences that test you, for lack of a better word. But when there's more apples than oranges, then your life starts to shift, right?
Yeah. And also when you can ask yourself who's writing the story too in the moment, because some of these stories feel like they're permanent to people, oh yeah, that's impossible for that one. I could believe that all this other stuff could change, but not that one, because I've heard people say that. And I'm like, well,
that's an orange.
Right.
And so what's your reaction to that? Because either you will have the orange back in your purse because you've accepted that as true, or you will, no, I don't think like that anymore. That story may have had a good hold on me, but not anymore, because now I know how powerful I am. I know that I create in my life. And so you're changing that into an apple, and that gets deposited back into your subconscious mind.
Right. And it feels like that your focus on being the writer of the story you can get distracted, or for lack of a better word, or like you said, your oranges start coming at you and
that is because imagination saying, okay, great, you believe you're abundant, super. Oh, but wait,
prove it.
Well, wait a minute. I've got a whole purse full of oranges here that say you never have enough money. There's never,
it's
really hard to get. So it's like, well, which do you really believe? Is it an apple or is it an orange? And your reaction is your answer.
Yeah.
So my reaction is, oh no, I used to think like that. I don't anymore. I have more than enough for bills. Okay, so that's an apple then. So your answer.
Yeah.
But if I say, oh, what the heck's going on? Why didn't this work? It's never worked. It doesn't work. And going on like this. Okay, then you are in lack still. So that was, that apple is still there, but it's not really, it's only tiny because it only has the energy behind it that you gave it in that short time. And when the opportunity came for you to intensify the power of that apple or the size of that apple, you went back to oranges.
Yeah. And if staying focused on what you want and
what you've accepted, what you have, because what it's not going to get you what you want. You have to accept it as done already.
Yes.
Where you want to stay your focus and living and seeing life from there in your mind.
Well, and there's another shift from rewriting the story to counting your blessings, even, because in that moment where it's like, yeah, I don't think that way anymore. Sometimes I'll just say, oh, thanks for the blessings for the thing that thanks for the blessings of all the things that are coming to support that. I want to say new way of thinking, but it's not really a new way. It's just a more consistent, like it has to be more consistent. It has to be every day. It has to be like, and I don't mean you have to focus on it every day. I mean, when those things come up that want to get you to focus on the oranges, those things you just revise at that moment. And no, I don't think that way anymore.
Right. And then replace it though. If you don't replace it,
I think this way.
That's
Yes.
right. So you're creating that apple to put in your purse.
Yes.
Instead of the orange goes because you don't think that way anymore. And so that's why it sometimes can take a while to go from, say, lack, for example, to abundance, because we've got lots of oranges in there. And it depends on the intensity of our conviction of our abundance as to the number of oranges that are switched into apples or become apples, right?
Right, right. And the idea
And the
that
more successes you have, the more faith you have. And so as you get more faith, then you're actually dealing with more oranges at a time than you would if you were just kind of not quite sure. But I think, yeah, I felt it. So I think it's got to be true. But then, well, what's this? Well, you know, why did this come up? And it's not, I guess for me, the important realization was that it's not this inner battle that I'm having. It's not a battle. It's me. I've been double-minded.
yes,
So,
very good
okay.
point. I like that.
And that's why I
Double-minded.
used to think that way. This is how I think.
Yeah.
And so you can't, when you're reacting to something that is showing itself as different than what your end may be or what you think
Yes.
belief is, then you can't really get upset that it doesn't work. You have to, when you understand, like for me, this was kind of like, oh, okay, now that I understand it, like it doesn't matter that, because Neville always says, right, ignore circumstances, ignore the facts.
Yes.
And why he's saying that, because if you're reacting to them, then you're creating more oranges.
Yes. Yes. And it's weird because it's what I feel like the conditioning I grew up with was to pay attention to the oranges and organize them really well and make sure you know where they are and pay attention.
Yeah, but we don't use excuses, but for understanding's sake,
yes,
it's all part of the story must go on.
Yes.
We're all walking the same path,
Yes.
experiencing things different.
Yes.
It's the expansion is really like there's only so many feelings and we all go through them. And the story in the Bible is our biography, right? So it's all, there's no need to berate yourself, get angry at yourself, because are the beliefs and thoughts that have been planted purposely in us for the expansion. Because I'm here with all apples. What are we gonna, there's nothing to expand, everything, like we're in the Garden of Eden. If we've got all apples, we're in the Garden of Eden. So, and there's only whatever happens there, it happens there, right? Like there's no, the experiences that we have being out of the garden, provide us with insights about ourselves and looking at others and expanding that way. That makes any sense.
Yeah, and I think that the double-mindedness is so in order for me the last couple of days I felt like I was getting into a bit of double-minded. So there was like an expansion happened today and yesterday, and the expansion was just in, you and I were talking about this, just in the feeling of nature and the natural state of things. And just for me it was just coming back to I'm here looking at the beautiful trees and look at the spring bringing all the flowers, and it's so beautiful and so simple. And we've talked about simple before, and that was sort of an expansion of a feeling that things were starting to get narrowed and small, and
I don't understand what that.
well, like instead of sort of a feeling of openness, it's a feeling of closed. And
That's what you were feeling?
I was
You were
feeling
feeling that.
small and closed,
Okay,
and like not on the sort of expansion of things. It was more like a hyper focus on what I didn't want, because I was focused on things I didn't want to get, and I could feel physically just like it's like a shrinking, I want to say, as opposed to, oh, everything's great, everything, like that shift. I don't know, it's just a shift in my thinking. And then
I know when we were talking about it, we talked about, and Rita often talks about this, how everything is created by God, consciousness, awareness, and that a tree is no different than us in that sense. A tree grows from a seed, has, some have fruit, they have the leaves that grow in its season, and goes over the summer with the leaves and provides shade, helpful to other species, provides place for birds to put their nests, like, so there's sort of that mutual role that it plays in its existence. And then in the fall, the leaves start falling off and the tree is empty in the winter, and in the spring it starts back up again. And so, and it doesn't require, any money to do that. It doesn't require anybody to do anything for it. It's all it's all in the seed. It's all in the original seed. And in that sense, we're no different. We have all that we need. And the difference is that we're able to think in a way that creates. And so we've got these thoughts that have been sort of buried in us from our first time taking a body, coming down to, this is the, what does Neville call it? The something of contraction. This is like the ultimate contraction being.
Right.
But we still have our awareness, consciousness, God in our hearts that will provide for us. But we have to get out of the way. Like,
yes. Yeah, you sent me that. I was listening before I was feeling like that, and we were talking. You sent me a post about getting in your own way. I like that, getting in your own way of what it is that you're after.
And again, it's not about a judgment against yourself.
No,
it's just about well, where do I do that? I wonder where if I do that, and I wouldn't even go looking for it.
No,
just come up. Oh, well, do I think like that still? Like, am I focusing?
Yeah.
Why am I thinking about this? Why do I desire this? The why question. And I think we probably should wrap it up soon. I don't want to make it long, but the why question is really helpful in getting to your true desire, and just being able to, being just observational as to non-judgmental. Because I find with the clients that I've been working with the last why isn't this working? Like I thought I obviously haven't. Like there's a frustration there because they don't really understand, and there's still a little bit of judgment that they're having for themselves that they're not necessarily understanding, and we don't need that. It's okay. You know what? It's an experience. It's okay.
Right. And also being the observer allows you to stay out of judgment.
Yeah.
Because judgment definitely, I notice, sets people on opposite sides. And also, like we've talked about, doing it in your own head with other people rather than in physical reality with
Yeah.
them.
Do another
Like,
video about that.
yeah, lifting
be-
yourself and them out of those judgments.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because if you just, this is the last thing I'm going to say for now, but
Okay.
I mean, it's judgment and observing. I mean, you find out, you know, when I'm looking at, okay, what do I think about my response to that? Was that the kind of response that I'm okay with, or was there something more to that I want to be aware of? So it's like, if I look at that from a judgment perspective, the feeling is very different than if I'm looking at that from just an observation. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that feeling is very different, and
Yeah.
feeling creates. So what you create from making a judgment on yourself is going to be very different from just an observation of yourself.
Yeah, and it's also, observing allows you to rewrite the script in a sense, whereas judgment has already decided.
Well, yeah, but if you do it in judgment, well, that's not quite the feeling that you want attached to something that you want, right?
Mhm.
Because that just adds another story
Yes, yes.
to be aware of.
And splits love in two.
Yes. Anyway, I think that's good.
Okay, peace.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you also to the patrons. Thank you for all of your messages. Thank you for commenting below. It's kind of cool. We are always getting comments, so that's nice. And we'll talk to you soon.
Bye for now.
Bye.